you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
That is a good question. See, I'd love to say something like, Trent Reznor is like one of my biggest idols. I fucking love Nine Inch Nails, like probably my first or second favorite band, I'd say. But I don't think he'd be that fun to have dinner with. So I think, objectively speaking, I think that he would be, I don't know, he just comes across a bit like, I don't know, if I'd say I'd probably go with Jack Black, because I say Jack Black because we met Jack Black recently at Rock am Ring, and he was super fucking cool. He was like really fucking down to earth. So I'd actually love to sit down and have like a full 3-course meal with him, because he's just as cool as you think he'd be in real life. Yeah,
he's a proper hero.
Weird. I remember thinking, like, when we were there, at the catering, because it was like catering for all the bands, whether you're on main stage, second stage, or whatever. And like Incubus were in there and stuff like that, and it was proper weird seeing like Papa Roach walking around. And then I remember thinking, like, Jack Black's not going to come in here. He's like by far the most famous person at this festival, because even if you haven't heard of Tenacious D, he's a movie star, so he's in a different league to all these bands. Like, Kings of Leon headlined, Foo Fighters headlined. I'd argue that Jack Black's more famous than any of those people. Maybe not Dave Grohl, but in that same sort of league. And when we finished watching them play, I came out of the toilet in the catering, in the backstage, having a piss, and he just literally walked past me just coming off stage, and he's asking his manager, like, does this wristband get me a free meal? And he was like, yeah. And then we were just like, all of us and the rest of the guys in the band were just in the queue next to him. And like, I said like, oh mate, that was really fucking good, man. And he was like, thank you so much. And he shook my hand, and he was really fucking nice. And then he just sat with some random bus drivers who were from England. I don't know what bands they were with. He was on his own basically, and he just sat and chatted with them, because we were only a couple of tables away. And I was just like, fuck, he's literally so cool. Like, he's not putting in any sort of front or anything. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer to that question. So there you go.
Yeah, his videos over lockdown, I don't know if you saw his sort of Instagram tirade of videos. They so funny. Like, he obviously just embraced the fact that he couldn't do anything else, I guess. Some of the content he was putting out was so funny. Yeah, I love him. He's so I love Kung Fu Panda. He's so, like, there's so many moments in that movie that I think are just so quotable.
Funnily enough, School of Rock was the it wasn't the film that made me play guitar, but it was the film that made me want to get better at guitar, because I think I was like, I don't know, I was maybe like, what year did that year did that film come out? Like 2002 or something?
Early
so I was probably
like,
I think I was about 10 or 12 or 13 or something around that age. And I had been playing guitar for a few years at that point. And I remember like the kid in that film was the same sort of age as me, and he was like way better than me. Like, he could play solos better, and I was just like really jealous. I was like, that I couldn't play like that. So I think after that I was like, I want to get better at playing guitar. So weirdly enough, like, that kid in that film, I don't even know what his name is. I heard that he got arrested recently for stealing guitars or something. I don't know if that's true.
It's a pretty cool way to go.
But he's an idol of mine, apparently.
Yeah, I suppose it's I suppose this is worst ways to go. If you, between Guitar Hero, were you ever a Guitar Hero guy?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I first played Guitar Hero 2, I think, was the first one I played. Yeah.
So, like, important question for the rock and metal fraternity, or sort of, world, what is more important, School of Rock or Guitar Hero?
Definitely Guitar Hero, for sure, because Guitar Hero like turned me on to loads of bands. I think I first heard Lamb of God through, I think Later Rest was on Guitar Hero 2, I think
so, one of them, I think. Yeah,
and I'd never heard Lamb of God before that. Funnily enough, I seem to remember that game was when it was it wasn't like licensed, so I think they were like recorded by people. It wasn't like Lamb of God stems from their album. It was like some bozo doing the vocals, doing Randy's vocals. Seem to remember the vocals being a bit shit, but like the riffs, it was all about, Lamb of God is all about the guitars, really, in my opinion. And yeah, not just Lamb of God, but loads of bands that game and that series of games turned me on to. So yeah, I would definitely choose, I think, yeah, Guitar Hero definitely trumps School of Rock in that respect.
I don't know. Oh, yeah. I think there's more range in Guitar Hero, but
yeah,
I do think School of Rock just has something. There's something about the movie power, I guess. That there's so many.
I guess School of Rock is like you're actually seeing like kids playing like a big gig. Like they play a big gig at the end, don't they? And it's like that's fucking cool. Like that's what you want to do when you're a kid. So I guess they both got their plus points for sure.
Yeah,
but I think in terms of like being more influential and more like, I guess like introducing yourself to the world of like guitar and guitar based music, I think I'd choose Guitar Hero for sure.
Yeah. It's I remember there's a friend of mine who he's he's actually a really good guitar player, really good like jazz guitar player, but he's insanely good at Guitar Hero. I remember he came around to my like uni house a while ago, and we had Guitar Hero. We had like I can't remember. I think we had a Nintendo Wii or something, and I challenged him to Guitar Hero expecting it to be like a fair fight, and he just absolutely trashed me on like expert mode, Cliffs of Dover. I was just like, well, how are you? I
remember like being able to do like medium. I think it was medium difficulty where you just used the first 4 buttons, and then when you went into hard and expert, you used the orange one, and that was when it was a game changer. When I got the hang of the orange button, it was like, okay, this is serious shit now. Yeah. I seem to remember I could do some of them on expert. I think. Not like the Dragon Force ones or anything like that, but there's definitely a few that I could do on expert. I could do most of them on hard mode at least, but yeah. I used to have the Metallica one was really good, where it was just Metallica songs.
Yeah. I would just get a bit bored of that as much as I think Metallica are great. I think I'd just get a bit bored of like...
Yeah, that's a fair point, because you want some sort of like, you want some difference in genres, I guess, don't you?
Yeah. Speaking of like... It's a neat segue. I always have to point out when I make a neat segue. I'm really ruining these every time I do it. But like, in terms of like metal as a genre, what do you think? Like on a more, I suppose, musical level, what do you think? Where do you think metal sort of I don't know how to phrase this, but sort of wants to go next, if that makes sense. Like, what do you think? Is there anything in the genre that you think, oh, we need more of that, or you'd like to see more of it? So I don't know, more leaning into the heavy side or the melody, or splicing it with different genres or different instruments or something.
I think it's interesting. I was talking to my girlfriend about this today, actually, or my fiance, I should say. Sorry. I think like statistically, you see a lot of bands get bigger and they tend to go softer. An example of it is like Bring Me the Horizon, but then recently I feel like there's been this resurgence of heavier music, and Bring Me the Horizon again is an example of that, because like their newer stuff has got like, it's not like heavy all the way through, but it's got like really heavy bits in it. Like the last few releases they've done or whatever, that last sort of like album mini, the post-human, that it's called, and then the songs they put out since then have both had really heavy bits in them, and then you've got bands like like Lorna Shore, who are super fucking heavy. There's nothing mainstream about Lorna Shore, but they're massive. Even like Die Artist Murder are doing like their biggest like tour at the moment, over like coming up this year. Like there's a lot of room for heavy music, I think, and like I know for us personally as a band, like we always want to have that heavy stuff. It's always a really important part of the music, definitely, and I don't think anyone in this band wants to get rid of that. There's no one who's like, let's move into poppy music because it might make us bigger. Like everyone wants to still just play like fucking heavy riffs and stuff like that, but there's definitely still room for like the softer music, I think, in between that. I think it's just about having a good balance of things, I think. Yeah, and I don't really know, to be honest, in terms of like where metal's going. I think it's just a free for all, honestly, and I think that's really cool. I think it is cool that you've got like bands like Lorna Shore who are fucking so heavy, and then bands like Spirit Box again are a good example of like, there's loads of bands that everyone's going to mention: Sleep Token, Bad Omens, Spirit Box. It's the classic sort of 4 at the moment. Lorna Shore as well is what everyone's sort of talking about, the big sort of hitters that are smashing it at the moment, and they all have like really heavy moments in their music. They're not just like this like pop metal thing. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my I think that's my opinion of it as a whole, really, at the moment.
Yeah.
It's in a good place. I think it's healthy, to be fair. I think metal's in a good place, definitely.
Yeah. I saw Spirit Box last night, actually, funnily enough, and Loathe supported them, and Loathe were insane. Like, I think they're a phenomenal band. They got so much.
Yeah, another great example of a band that's really fucking heavy as well as being really soft. Like, they do it really well. So
yeah, and I feel like when I hear a chorus of theirs or something, it doesn't. I don't know where it's going. You know, in a good way, I think. You obviously, when you do that, you risk. You know, the more you detach yourself from like predictability. You start. You obviously, if you go too far away from that, you become a bit hard to follow. But have you seen? You know the beginning of Parasite Eve. The what's it? What band again? Sorry,
Bring the Horizon. Yeah.
Yeah. You know that chorus at the beginning.
Well, like where it's like
not chorus.
Singing.
The choir. Sorry. I was watching.
Yeah.
I was watching a clip recently. Have you seen where that comes from?
Isn't it like an Afrikaans thing or something like that?
I think from memory, I'm going to sound like such an idiot if it's not, but it was like I think it's like a Bulgarian folk thing.
Yeah, but if you listen, I think that rings a bell actually. Yeah,
and if you listen to some of the harmonies and the timings and things, it's insane. Just listening. I mean, it's one of the things. It feels very like almost educational listening to it. Not that it is. It's just because it's so different. You know, I'm sure if you're into that music, it's just plain enjoyable. But
when I first heard that bit, I was like, "How the fuck have they written that?" I was like, because like you say, it's got loads of like bits going in between it, and I was like, "That sounds cool as fuck." Like, but so it's kind of I guess a relief that they didn't write that because it makes me feel a bit better.
I know that feeling. Yeah, they sampled it from. I looked it up. They sampled it from I can't remember what it is, like a live performance of a choir, I think. So,
but who would think to sample something like that before a metal song? It just works though. It's cool as fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that was actually funny enough. Exactly what I was gonna say. It's like, it is just direct. It's not even sampled, is it? It's literally just cut and pasted. Is if you can call that a sample, but even just to put that in there it's a clever move, and it's certainly it works for the song. It's not like you feel like, oh, where's this going? Some of the timings in it are crazy. But like I saw you do some like sort of artwork as well. You're sort of, it seems like you're sort of artistic. Would you say you're like sort of an artistic like personality?
Yeah, I definitely so. I would say I always liked art at school, and then I didn't really do that much drawing in my adult life until I got an iPad Pro. I got on, like the Apple Pencil. And that just fucking changed everything for me because like, it's so fucking good. Like I really implore anyone who has any kind of like, even if they dabble in drawing, honestly get an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil or any kind of like thing that you can draw on with the stylus, because it's just a game changer just in terms of like creativity and stuff. So I started doing a lot of digital art, and then I kind of stopped doing it when I joined Barry Tomorrow because I don't know why, but I seem to just like, I find I go through phases with my hobbies basically where I'll like when I was doing loads of drawing, I wasn't really playing much guitar, sometimes I'd go like a few days or a week without playing guitar at all. But I'd be drawing like every day and drawing loads of stuff and putting loads of stuff online and doing commissions for people and making some money from it, which is really cool. And then as soon as I got asked to join Barry Tomorrow, it's like, I'm in guitar mode now, So I haven't done a lot of digital art. Like I've done the odd like commission for people if they specifically ask me to do stuff. But I just find it hard to switch between those two things, which is a bit of a shame really. But more recently, luckily on tour is something that kind of fits in with the band is that I've started doing like drum skins, like on tour when, Jacko, our drummer, if he's changes his skin every few days or whatever on tour. So he's got like a skin that's near enough fresh, but like, and we're just normally going to throw it away, but I'll like draw something on it. I'll spend like an hour or two drawing something on it, and people buy them every night on tour. And it's a really fun part of my day on tour is just, finding a little corner, whether it's on the bus or in the dressing room or somewhere, and just putting some music on and just like doodling for like an hour. And it's a really therapeutic thing, I think. So it's really nice to have that sort of creative side to me, like be brought out by the band as well, by when I'm on tour and stuff like that. And it's kind of like I've got an audience now of people who actually want to buy this stuff, and it's not necessarily they're like, oh, I love you as an artist. They love the band more than anything, right? They want something that says Barry Tomorrow on it, and it's something that we've all signed, So it's a sort of a joint thing between all of us, which is cool. I did some like custom skins for the album release as well, where I did like 3 skins that like people could win if they pre-ordered our album. And then I did these the label sent me these like blank sleeves that some of our records got shipped out in, so that people, whoever pre-ordered our album from our website, would have a 1 in 5 chance of winning one of these sleeves and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been fun. It's definitely been fun to have that sort of side of things. I've amassed quite a big collection of like coloured, I use like uni Posca pens. I've got them here actually.
I got on
the people who were on the podcast.
Oh well.
Pretty much got one of every colour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find them so satisfying to use and stuff. So yeah, it's been cool, definitely. I've been sent a giant pick as well, which I've got here, which is like for
oh shit.
Which I'm doing a design for it. I've figured out what I'm going to do on it. I'm just going to draw it up, and it's for pick collectors against cancer. There's a guy, Lee, who I've become quite good friends with, who sort of does like custom picks, auctions them off and stuff, and then all the money goes to cancer. So with this, it'll be like a custom Bury Tomorrow pick. Someone can bring the original one that I've done, and then he'll make copies of them in smaller batches, like actual guitar pick sized ones that people can auction for them as well. And then it's all for a good cause, which is cool. So it's a really good thing to be able to like use creativity towards those kind of outlets, for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like obviously you said it feels like one thing gets pushed to the side. Would you say you're quite like when you're doing one thing, are you quite like one track minded in that sense? And I don't mean that in a bad way, because lots of people are kind of, once they know what they want to do, like that's where the effort goes, whereas some people, they do seem to be doing like 4 or 5 things at once, and you're like, how do you have time for this? Where are you on that sort of spectrum of, having your one thing versus like, okay, I've actually, you make time for other things in life?
I think, I'm very one track minded. I think I would say, like, for me, like the 3 big hobbies I have are like drawing, obviously music, and like video games. So like PS5 or Nintendo Switch. And like, if I'm like, and sometimes I'll be in like video game mode. If I've got like a big, like when Elden Ring came out, for example, massive game, fucking sunk shitloads of time into that game. And I was barely doing any drawing or guitar when I was playing that, because it's kind of like, that's my thing. That's what I'm using my spare time for, More recently, I've been able to sort of balance it a little bit better, I think. At the moment, I think I'm quite good with the whole just doing all 3 at the same time. But it's definitely forefront at the moment is just music. Not necessarily even just playing guitar or writing music, but like guitar-related things, like, like planning trips and stuff that we're going away on tour, and like we've always got group chats going on about talking about merch and stuff like this, and plans and this and that and the other, So yeah, I definitely think that it's probably like a bit of ADHD or something like that. But I mean, I've not been diagnosed with that, but there's parts of me that sometimes think that I am, because I sometimes completely get distracted by something else and start doing something else, and then I get distracted by something else, and then something else and something else. And I've explained that to somebody, and they were like, you might have ADHD. And I'm like, I mean, I don't really know much about it, but I've always thought it was for people who are like really hyperactive, and I'm not really hyperactive, to be honest. I'm quite like introverted, but I guess that's a misconception, maybe. I don't know.
Well, there's ADD, isn't there? Which would just be, is just on the attention front, I think. What was I going to say? Oh, I'm sure I had a really important point. I used to try and like pretend when I hadn't. I used to try and like, what's the word? When you try and like pass the time until you remember what you're trying to do. Now I just acknowledge if I've totally forgotten where my head was going. But yeah, it's cool to have those kind of like different pursuits. I think, like for me, I wouldn't say I'm artistic particularly beyond music. Like I have some ideas, and it seems odd to me almost to, I don't know, like I can't really draw particularly. I think I used to like it as a kid, but I can't. I don't know. Do you think there's like do you think you can be? Do you think maybe I've got some hidden creative spark in other elements of art, or do you think you can be a person that is just musical or just artsy or just, I don't know, a dancer or a whatever?
I think that like the digital side of things changes things a lot. So if I've got a piece of pen, if I've got like a pen and a paper, like that doesn't inspire me that much. Like, whereas if I've got something like, if I've got like I don't know, like different colored pens, or like, or especially if I've got like an iPad where I can do like, I don't know, you can use different brushes and like different layers and just try things. There's a lot more trial and error with it, where like you do a wrong line and you just double tap and it goes away. You know, stuff like that is like, I guess you could say that's kind of cheating, but like if that unlocks a new sort of like corner of your creativity, I think that's a great thing. And some people like, you know, can't draw at all, but they can like put, you know, graphic design, for example. I mean, it helps definitely if you can draw doing graphic design, but I know some people can just do, you know, they might just be able to just like make posters and stuff like that with like digital means and stuff. So yeah, I think that, yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with that point, but
so I was I remember what I was going to ask now anyway. It's it was with the video, on the video game front, because I know a lot of musicians are like into their video games. And what's your kind of thought, you know, it's definitely the sort of the typical parental thing to say of like, oh, you're wasting your time on video games, you know, it's should be doing something, I don't know, something else. What's your kind of thought on that? You know, because for me, like for instance, I don't know where I'm at with it, because sometimes I think, well, if you enjoy it, like, you know, why not?
Yeah.
But then I also think I enjoy sitting watching Instagram reels for half an hour, but it is ultimately when I come out the other end of it. I think the important thing is how you feel when you come out the other end, right?
Yeah.
And I come out the other end going, why didn't I just like read or play guitar or like,
I mean, I don't really see how it's any different from like watching, like binging a TV series. You know, we all spend a lot of time watching Netflix, and you know, if you get into a new TV series, and why do you watch a TV series? Because it gives you enjoyment. And at the end of the day, that's important, isn't it? It's just about like filling your time with something that makes you feel fulfilled, I guess. You know, I think like it can go too far with, like it can with anything. Like, so, you know, sometimes people will get addicted to video games and they'll play like Fortnite for like 14 hours straight and they won't eat food properly, and they'll like shit themselves and stuff like that whilst they're playing it, which is obviously too far on the other end of that. But I do sometimes, guilt trip myself a little bit. Like if I'm sat playing a game for like 3 or 4 hours at home, I'm kind of like, if I'd made some music, that's something creative, or I could have drawn something, or, you know, but then it's like at the end of the day, it's just stimulating your mind, I think, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? I think it's just kind of like, I think it depends. If it's like, oh, you know, if we had an album to write or something like that, and we had like a couple of weeks to write another song, and like instead of contributing to that writing process, I just played PlayStation instead, then yeah, it's kind of like you can sort of see where there's a tangible downside to that. It's a particular scenario, but I think in general, I just think it's about filling your time with something that you enjoy. And I think for me, the whole reason I bought the Nintendo Switch in particular was because I bought that after I joined Very Tomorrow, because I was like, I'm going to be touring a lot more. There's going to be like journeys and stuff where I need to fill time. And like, I get quite anxious, like on the plane. So last time I was on the plane was when we come back from Norway, a weekend before last. And I just whip that out at any time and just play Zelda. And Zelda's such immersive. The new Zelda game is so immersive that it's just like genuinely, it really helps my mental health, like in a lot of ways, you know. I think that's a really important thing. So now like my Switch has become a really important thing. Like, I always have it in my backpack if I'm traveling, if I'm in the airport, anywhere, it's always like on my person, because it's like I can just whip it. I know I don't always whip it out all the time, but I know that I can, and I think that's quite a comforting thing.
Yeah. It's I don't know, I think I've been said to a few people on the podcast, I'm trying to find that balance in my life between enjoyment now and sort of delayed gratification on the harder stuff, you know, the things that I know I want to see success in. And success, I don't just mean like commercial success, but I mean like personal success in, you know, that I personally, for me, I want to do well in. But those things are quite hard to do, right? Most of those things. So I'm trying to find that balance, because equally, I wouldn't want to be one of those guys that gets to the age of like, I don't know, 45, 50, and you suddenly realize like, oh, I didn't enjoy like my earlier years because things like the relation. I've got a really good group of friends now in Birmingham where I'm at, and it's I really value, just like I was saying to a friend the other day, like my parents actually I was chatting to, where I was like, I've been out so many times where you go and get drunk and you wake up the next morning, you're like, that was such a waste of time and money. Like, why did I even bother going out? Whereas at the moment, the friends I go out with, I'm like, I have a few drinks with them. I don't tend to go and get horrifically drunk now anyway, but even if I wake up a bit hungover a bit late, I'm like, I had a really nice night though, So I don't know where that balance is, because I do really value that, and I like to think hopefully I'll look back on like these evenings as time I valued. And it's the same, I guess, with gaming. If you it depends what you draw value from, I guess. And I suppose if it helps you in terms of things like inspiration, if you're talking about like writing a song to a deadline or stuff like that, a lot of these like sort of almost remedial things like gaming, they can help, I feel, with inspiration. They can obviously just distract, but sometimes your brain just needs something else. Do you find, actually, I suppose a better question when it comes to inspiration, like what's the best scenario for you when it comes to inspiration? Do you need a deadline, or do you need just free time? Do you need like people around you? What
Definitely not a deadline. We don't normally have that really. I mean, our album came out in March, and we're already writing these songs now. I was literally finishing something before I came on this call, and for me, like, I just have to, like, I can't force it. Like, sometimes I sit down and I try and write something, and it's just like, I've had hours when I sit there, and it just like, I've sat there for like 2 hours working on like 2 riffs, and at the end of it, I listen to it, I'm like, it's shit, and I hate this, and it puts me in the fucking worst mood. Like, to the point where like my partner will be like, she'll know something's wrong, and she'll be like I don't say anything to her or anything like that. I don't shout at her, but like she can tell that I'm in a bad mood, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm just like, and it just sounds so stupid to go like, I wrote a song that I don't like, and it just like, but it happens. And then it's just one of these things. But it's like when it goes well and you write something that's good, it's like the most rewarding feeling ever. And it's like, it's exactly the same thing when I draw as well. To be fair, like sometimes I'll draw something and I'm like, I can't get the hang of this and I hate this. But when I get going with something and it's good, it's like the best feeling. It's super like addictive, that feeling, I think in terms of inspiration, it's just like, like Dawson will message me, the other guitarists in our band. He messaged me the other day, like, I've sat down to try and write some riffs. I just feel really uninspired. I can't really get anything good out. Like the only thing you can say to that is just like, leave it, mate. There's no rush. Just come back to it. I think definitely listening to other bands is good for like inspiration. Like, I'll sometimes hear like a melody or like a chord change, or I'm like, I really like that way that chord changes. And then like, what are they doing there? And just like deconstruct it and then translate it to the guitar and then make it into something in a completely different tempo and time signature. So it doesn't sound the same at all, but it's like, oh, I've used that same idea, I guess. I think there's kind of like inspiration everywhere, really, if you think about that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think, luckily for us, like the sort of deadline thing is not really a thing. It's kind of like we sort of go when we're ready, I think. But I think you have to strike while the iron's hot, really. It's just kind of like, because the album takes so long to get going. We were sat on the album last year. We finished recording it in March 2021. It didn't come out until March 2022, just for one reason or another. It's with like vinyl delays and things like that and stuff with the label. So it's a long process. So you kind of have to get going with it as soon as possible. And I think we all had ideas going since before the last album was done anyway. So it's just like working through those kind of ideas and just getting everything going. It's always good to have too much stuff and like not enough stuff, and then just be scrambling at the end of the day,
Yeah. Do you have anything that particularly like things that can help you feel inspired? Like, is there a certain routine, like, or, do you need like a day off, just to sort of get yourself in the headspace? Or are there like, I don't know, things like going for a walk or listening to, I don't know, a podcast, for example? I don't know, anything like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that, I think listening to like, because sometimes I go through phases where I don't listen to a lot of metal. I listen to like a lot of like, just like more like chilled out stuff, or like female fronted stuff, like women, like female singers, like Lana Del Rey and stuff like that. And like, or like Trent Reznor soundtracks is something I listen to a lot. And like Nine Inch Nails, for example, is not really that metal. Even like Deftones is my favorite band. Deftones isn't really a band that like inspires me like to write music, because we don't sound anything like Deftones. It's really our style. As much as I'd love to sound like Deftones, it's just not really our thing. Like the music we write is very different from that. So sometimes for me, it helps to sort of like listen to like newer not new metal bands, but newer sort of metalcore bands who are like in the scene, and just go like, you know, especially I something I struggle with definitely is like structuring songs. So I can write like a good riff here or there, or like a good chorus or something, but I really struggle with like structuring the whole song, and that's something I definitely need help with from the rest of the guys, which is completely fine. But that's something that I feel like you can get inspired by from like another band. Like I've had it before when like if you've written something that's in like 6/8 or 3/4, and you go into 4/4. Just for ages, I couldn't do that. I couldn't figure out how to make that not sound weird. And there's loads of songs that do it really well. And the guitarist in my old band, Ollie, he used to be really fucking good at that. I was just like, how the fuck have you done that? And it makes it sound so smooth. And it's just kind of like, I think if you just listen to the way other bands have done it and just kind of like not copy it, but go like, okay, so how can I translate that into something that I'm writing now? I can't remember what your question was. I think it was, you said about process.
It was like things that help you get inspired, and you're talking about
help you
like
get inspired in
other genres and stuff. Yeah.
I think that you mentioned going for a walk. Like I went for a really long walk today before I sat down and started like writing some stuff, and I felt like that really, really helped as well. Just makes me feel a bit better about like sitting on my arse all day if I've had some exercise, So yeah.
Yeah, I normally try and exercise every day and have Sundays off, and I didn't exercise today just because I felt a bit like I don't know, you just feel a bit off some days. And
you exercise every day?
Well, every day except Sunday.
Fucking hell, fair play.
I try.
When you say exercise, what do you mean?
So I do gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I run Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Jesus, mate.
So, you don't know how much I'm doing though. It might be very minimal. I'm
a walker. I hate running. I don't mind running on a treadmill if there's a treadmill there, but normally if I do cardio, I do like cross trainer. But I love walking though. I'll walk for hours. Like walking is my thing, and I know it's not the same as running by any means. I wish I was a runner, but yeah. And I keep meaning to join a gym, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I find gyms really intimidating. It's like kind of like breaking the ice thing, I've gone to gyms before, obviously, like in the past and stuff. And I've done a few workouts with the guys like on tour, as if pretty much everyone in our band works out. Like sometimes, I'm probably the one that works out the least actually out of everyone, thinking about it. Embarrassingly, that is to say. But there's a few times on this, like since we've been touring this year, that like I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll get up early and go to the gym with you, or go to the hotel gym, and it's been quite fun, and it's undeniable how good it feels afterwards. So yeah, respect to you for doing it pretty much every day. So
yeah, I like to think, because I sort of started it around New Year's, so I like to think I'm one of the people that's hopefully kept up with the New Year's resolution. I only started gymming like about 2 or 3 months ago, but yeah, I just feel so much better for it. I've looked a lot into like longevity and sort of just general health, and been trying to sort that out. Saying that I ate a pizza today, so I feel really bloated and horrible, which doesn't help things. But yeah, I just feel like it's every day. I'm like, it's even on, especially on days actually when I'm trying to do, like if I'm doing loads of podcasts or loads of music stuff. You can probably see all the guitars behind my head. On those days, it's the easiest to not do the exercise stuff. And I know for a fact, I sometimes feel a bit guilty going to the gym or running when I'm like, oh, I probably should be trying to write a song or something. But I just think that foundation is so important that, keeping it up every day and keeping the habit going, that I always think, no, I've got to do this because it's about quality of life all the way through. So I just try.
Yeah, it's undeniably a good thing to be doing. Like, I don't think you should ever feel guilty for like, oh, should I be playing guitar or like if you're running or exercising. I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's looking after the most important thing, which is your body and mind, really. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try and keep it up. But like, so what you're talking about touring and stuff. I know actually, and speaking of this, kind of ties into what we were talking about in terms of like just healthy lifestyle and like. Mental and physical health. Obviously, touring completely just eliminates any sense of routine, especially when you're talking about time zones and things. Crossing time zones and flying here and getting the bus there and whatever. Do you find? Do you enjoy the kind of quite broken routine, the sort of broken, a day here and then a few days there? Do you enjoy that sort of spontaneity, or are you a creature of habit?
I love touring. Don't get me wrong, but I hate that. I hate how it's. There's no routine. I find it well difficult. I pretty much always put on weight when I'm on tour. I have to be really careful with it. Did the longest tour I've ever done, which was in October, we did a co-headline with August Burns Red in Europe, and I think it was like 37 days or something like that, or 38 days or something. And like, yeah, it's just because like we get like after show pizzas, like I don't know why, just on that tour, it just became this like habit of like the promoter would just order us. We'd get like catering before we eat. We get catering before we play. Sorry, in the evening, and then after show pizzas. So there's shitloads of pizzas get brought in, and it's literally impossible to not eat pizza if it's in front of you and if it's free. Like it's just impossible. I can't not eat it. I can't not eat 3 slices of pizza if it's in front of me. And I wouldn't normally eat that late. Like I normally in the week at home, I usually do like intermittent fasting. So I normally like have my dinner at like 7 p.m. and I won't eat again until like 1 or 2 p.m. the next day. And I find that fairly easy to do in my routine at home. And I just eat in that window. But on tour, that kind of just completely goes out the window. And we went to America first time I've ever toured America was in May this year. And I was really good for the first like half of that tour. Like I was actually losing weight because I was doing shitloads of walking. And then I was like, I'm not going to eat after we play. I'm just not going to eat. I'd have a few beers and stuff, and that's fine. That doesn't really make too much difference. But I was like, and I didn't eat anything after the shows. But then there was quite a few days after that where I just started like, I was like, fuck it, I'm in America, you know, I'm going to have that burger or have that vegan kebab place or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, so yeah, I definitely find that difficult for sure. I always try and like trim a little bit before I go away on tour, knowing inevitably that I'm going to get fatter when I go on tour. But luckily America wasn't actually that bad. Like you'd think like, I found it really weird because like we would go into like, I'd never been to a Walmart before or a Target. And I went in and I was like, there's so much food that I just got overwhelmed and I didn't know what to get. And I just left without buying anything because I thought like, if I stock the tour bus up with like shitloads of Oreos and like Twinkies and all this stuff, then I am just going to eat like constantly. I'm going to get out of my bed in the middle of the night for a piss and then eat a Twinkie, you know, like I just kind of was like, I'm going to take that off the table. And that kind of discipline was quite good for me, I think. So, yeah.
What did you make? Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, sorry. You go.
I was going to say, what did you make of the States? Like, what? Do you have a favorite city or anything like that?
Yeah, the States was fucking amazing. Like, it was really fucking cool. We had such a good time, and it was just nice because like the band has been there before. Bury Tomorrow's been there long before I joined. They went there like a few times in like 2010 or 2011 or something like that. I think they had their visas and they went out like 3 times in a year or something like that. And they hadn't been back since then because it's so expensive. I don't think those tours were particularly good for them. I think one of them was quite good, but like the rest of them weren't that good. So for one reason or another, it's expensive to go to America. There's visa issues, blah, 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 blah. And then this year we're like, this is the year that we're going to do it again. So Dawson, the other guitarist, he joined the band in 2013, I think. So he hadn't toured America before. So we were just all like super excited, and like we had a tour bus which was really nice, like a proper tour bus, which, you know, I wasn't expecting it to be as nice as it was. Somehow that we made that happen somehow, I'm not really sure. So it was good because it was like waking up in the city every day. So you drive overnight and we would wake up in the city, so we would have time to explore like every day. So we had so much like in LA, I did like 30,000 steps because we were just there from the morning. You know, we just walked around all fucking day. We got up at like 8 in the morning, you know, got back for sound check, played the show, did the same thing the next day in Arizona. In terms of cities that I thought were the best, I think Charlotte was really nice. I think like Montreal and Toronto were really good, really nice cities. Chicago's really cool. Obviously New York is New York. If you've been there, you either hate or you love it. I personally think it's wicked. LA was a bit weird. I think like it's like there's some really nice parts to it, but there's some really fucking dodgy parts to it, you know. Like just where our bus was parked the night before the show, it was the first show was in LA, so we got picked up from the airport in the bus. drove to where the venue was, and it was like 10 p.m. We all went to 7-Eleven to get some food and stuff, just get some snacks for the bus and stuff. And there's like a mini like Skid Row, like 20 meters down from where our bus was. So there's like, 5 or 6 homeless people who'd like made this like basically like a metropolis of like junk into like underneath an overpass. And like at first it's like really intimidating, you're scared of them, but then you kind of realize that they're just like, they just mind their own business. Like they're just talking to themselves. They're not going to like attack you, because then you know where they live. Do you know what I mean? They're attacking you on their doorstep. Do you know what I mean? So it would be a bit of a weird thing if they did for whatever reason. But overall it was wicked. And we just went to Brazil just before that as well. We had one show in Brazil, which was a festival, Sao Paulo, which was right before LA, which was fucking cool as well. So I'd never been to South America, so that was fucking wicked.
Yeah. I've never been to North I've been skiing in Canada, but that was just up a mountain. Like that could have been any mountain anywhere really. I mean, it's a really cool trip, but like I wouldn't say I've been to Canada as such. I mean, I was the same. I went skiing to Colorado when I was a kid, and the only other place I'd been to was I went to New York in 2019 with one of my mates, Carl. But yeah, so I felt like, the Colorado was really cool, but it wasn't like, it didn't feel like America, which I'm sure it was the same for you if you were like on the mountain skiing and stuff. So yeah, it was really cool to sort of see those other parts of America. And it's like that's definitely a bucket list thing for me. Like, we went into that tour sort of thinking, I went into it anyway thinking, might be a flop, might never tour America again. That's fine. Maybe we're just a band that tours Europe, because we do quite well in Europe and stuff. So the fact that it went well, and we're actually going back in September and playing a show in Kentucky on my birthday, funnily enough, on the 8th, which is just going to be really cool. We're doing this festival called Blue Ridge Rock Festival, which is like a really big one in Virginia, which has got a stacked lineup, like so many good bands on it. So yeah, it's just really, that kind of shit is not lost on us at all, for sure. Especially not me, because I'm one of the newer members of the band. So it's a very, I used to be in a band before. That's how I knew the guys in Bury Tomorrow. I was in a band called Heart and Hand, and we toured together in 2013. And I kind of know like Bury Tomorrow for like a few years before that, from like playing in like local bands and stuff like that. But in my old band, it was always like a huge dream to tour America, and it's a pretty big commitment, and it's, the visas alone are super expensive. They don't make it easy at all. So the fact that we've got to do it at least once is just a really fucking cool thing for me. So yeah, we're all really appreciative of it, for sure. Yeah, I'd love to go out there, particularly on a tour. That'd be awesome. That's kind of my
I recommend it,
bucket list for me if I can make it happen. Yeah. So like you obviously you mentioned sort of joining the band a bit later on. Did you feel like a pressure either from like fans and just people in general, or actually just from yourself at all? In that scenario, did you feel quite comfortable stepping in?
Oh, I absolutely did not feel comfortable stepping in at first. It was Dawson who asked me, the other guitarist in the band, Chris Dawson, asked me to play. He sent me a Facebook message one day, Instagram message, sorry, one day, just saying like, "Hey man, hope you're still riffing. Just wondering if you want to fill in for us." And it was originally for Bloodstock main stage, and then Slam Dunk 2021 this was. So I think he messaged me in like May or June of that year, 2021. And I read it and I was just kind of like, I can't do that. No fucking way. I'll be too anxious, because I came out of lockdown. I went through lockdown and I came out with some really weird like anxiety. That's another story for another time, but where I just get really anxious for like no reason over just like the tiniest little thing. So I was kind of like there, like there's no fucking way that I can play a show again, especially not if it's in front of loads of people. And I hadn't played a show for literally about 7 years since my old band played a show. Been like that long. I hadn't played like any size gig, small or big. I'd done like 2 band practices with mates in between then, just like messing about with stuff. But when it came to that, and then I just was like, okay, I originally said yes, and then I was like, I'll say yes now so that he doesn't withdraw the offer, and then like maybe I'll say no in like a week when I think about it. I'll say, I'm going to a wedding or something, I can't do it. But anyway, I committed to it, and I started learning the songs, and I was like, I think this would be really fun actually. And yeah, I remember like the first show we ended up having to pull out of Bloodstock because Tom, the singer, couldn't do it. So they were like, "There's no point in doing it if we can't all do it." So the first show was the Leeds show at Slam Dunk 2021. I just remember like being at the festival, and we practiced loads before that. And I'd never played like with in-ear monitors or anything like that. You know, it was all very new to me, that kind of thing. And the production and like the intro and like clicks and stuff like that. I've never done any of that live before. And I do remember like walking to the stage and being like so nervous, like that I was like, I don't know why I agreed to do this. This is really horrible. Like probably the most nervous if I think about the most nervous I've ever been, it was probably like right at that moment. And for some reason, like our intro when we did that Slam Dunk was like this 3-minute long, it was just like rumble. It was just like, and we had these like LED screens and it just said Berry on them. And no one knew who was filling in for the band. They knew that Jason had left, but no one knew what was happening with the lineup. We kept it really secret. So everyone was kind of like, what the fuck's going on? Like, are they going to play without him? Are they going to have tracks? Is it going to be a new guitarist? There was loads of rumors it was Charlie Simpson doing it for some reason. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, I just remember like backstage, like waiting to walk on stage. And normally the intro is like maybe like 30 seconds or a minute, but this was like 3 minutes long of just like, or just like this rumbling. It was like Chinese water torture. And yeah, I felt an immense load of pressure, definitely, because like I want more than anything, just for like the other guys in the band. I just wanted them to do them proud, because at that moment they didn't even know if they were going to carry on as a band. It was on the thing that was sort of put on the table is like, this might be our last shows. You know, we'll see how this goes. You know, if those shows were a disaster, like a complete disaster for whatever reason, I think that maybe they would have called it a day. I think they were definitely on the edge of doing that. But yeah, after all the dust has settled after that weekend, you know, Dawson messaged me and was just like, we definitely want you in the band. And it was a really cool moment to hear that, you know, and it was just, yeah, it was cool. And there's, you know, the next sort of pressure came with like releasing music, obviously, not even so much for me, more so for Tom, who's the new singer. You know, the voice is what people are going to be judging. Like, no one's going to really be going, the guitar doesn't sound as good as it did before, because Dawson wrote all the guitar anyway before, you know, he wrote all the riffs. So that in that respect, it makes no difference, except for now, like I'm in the writing process a little bit, you know. But it was, I've got a lot of respect for Tom for the way that he handled it, because he's just so chill all the time, you know. Doesn't really like read YouTube comments. He doesn't really like look at stuff. He doesn't really give a shit. He never seems fazed by what people say. Like, he's just kind of, he only cares about like what we say, or like what people say to his face. You know, he doesn't really like get entrenched in the internet, which is a really easy thing to do, I think. So yeah, I think I have a lot of respect for like how chilled out he is with that kind of stuff. Sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it worked out. So otherwise I wouldn't be chatting with you, would I? Yeah, no, it's cool, man. Well, I mean, it's cool to cover all these kind of things and get an insight into your life beyond just music, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. If you want to finish up with, so I need a question for the next guest to start our conversation.
And you can't tell me who it is?
No.
Okay.
Someone quite cool. I think you'll think it's a cool person.
Okay. Interesting. All right. I can't put on the spot here.
I've kind of put pressure on by saying that, I guess, haven't I? It can be as ridiculous or as interesting a question as you want.
Are they? I'm guessing they're a musician.
I'll say they're in the music world, like they're in that kind of space.
Okay, I'll ask them something like, was there a moment from your childhood that made you want to do what you do now?
Nice. Yeah.
Is there a particular moment that you can think of?
Yeah.
That sort of was like click, and then I'm like, I think I want to go in that direction.
Yeah. If we need to hold a bet whether it's School of Rock or Guitar Hero.
Okay.
If it's one or the other, I don't know, owe you a pint or something.
So I'll go with Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I think you're more likely to. Yeah, I do actually. I think Guitar Hero probably is more likely to win that one. Yeah, and then also I need an artist you want to promote to the world.
Recently been listening to loads of North Lane's new album, so I'll go with North Lane. I really like the song on that album called Zen. That's my favorite song on the album, I think. So I'll go with North Lane Zen if we're going for a specific song.
Sick. Yeah. Nice one. Yeah, I've not listened. I need to listen to a bit more of their stuff. I've heard the odd song. Sounds pretty cool.
They're a great band, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, have you got anything you wanna plug?
Probably should plug. We're doing some shows with While She Sleeps, starting with Ali Pali. Ali Pali is actually the only UK show for the UK listeners. It's on the 23rd of September. And then we have a few shows in Europe, like a week after that, with While She Sleeps. It's going to be a really, really special show. It'd be the largest indoor show that I've ever played, I think. Obviously, for them, it's their biggest headliner that they've ever done. It's a massive, massive step for them. I'll plug that. It's going to be fucking wicked. So get tickets as soon as possible, because it's looking like tickets are running low, which is a really cool thing. So
awesome. Well, yeah. Well, hopefully it won't be sold out by the time this goes out. It'll be a couple of weeks. So
yeah,
find out, I guess. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. Nice to talk to you, man.